Today, everyone from the average citizen to the highest-ranking police officer has silently agreed to pretend these rules do not exist. But we've hunted down the 10 most absurd, outdated, and hilariously specific laws that remain on the books today. Prepare for a masterclass in the absolute peak of legislative madness. Number 1. Supernatural traffic control, the broomstick limit. In the nation of Eswatini, the Aviation Authority actually has a formal written rule prohibiting witches from flying their broomsticks higher than 150 meters. This isn't a joke or a local myth. It is an active piece of civil aviation law. If a witch is caught hovering in commercial airspace, perhaps drifting too close to a landing passenger jet, they could technically face a massive fine of $50,000. It is the ultimate form of supernatural traffic control. While we haven't exactly seen any broomstick-related mid-air collisions reported on the evening news just yet, it's comforting to know the government has a plan for literally everything. It raises a fascinating question. If you actually possess the magical ability to defy gravity and fly a household cleaning tool through the clouds, is a small fine from the government really going to be the thing that stops you? It's a law that assumes the supernatural is real, but that even magic must obey the bureaucracy. Number 2. The citrus explosion, California's tub troubles. In the state of California, it is technically a crime to consume a tangerine while sitting in a bathtub. This law sounds like a quintessential urban legend, but its roots are buried in the early 20th century panic over chemistry. Back in the early 1900s, some officials genuinely believed that the citric acid in the fruit could react violently with the popular bath oils of the era, causing a literal skin-scorching explosion. While modern science has thoroughly debunked the idea of fruit-triggered tub combustion, the law remains a staple of legal absurdity. Since no one in the history of the Golden State has ever been hauled out of their bathroom in handcuffs for a citrus-related incident, you are probably safe to peel that fruit while you soak. It's a refreshing slice of legal madness that proves some historical fears were just plain weird. Number 3. Canine self-esteem, Oklahoma's face laws. Oklahoma law technically forbids its citizens from making ugly faces at dogs. Apparently, at some point in the state's history, the legislature felt that canine self-esteem was a matter of high-level state security. The law was intended to prevent people from taunting or agitating animals, but the phrasing makes it sound like every dog is entitled to a world of constant smiles and high-quality vibes. While no one has ever been hauled to the station for sticking their tongue out at a golden retriever, the law remains a testament to human weirdness. Imagine the police lineup. Sir, we have 3 witnesses who say you scrunched your nose and winked aggressively at a poodle. In Oklahoma, the law wants you to be a gentleman to every 4-legged resident, or at least keep your facial expressions neutral. Number 4. The posthumous vow, until death do us start. France has a law that sounds like the tragic plot of a Gothic romance novel. Under very specific circumstances, you can legally marry a dead person. This isn't some ancient relic from the Middle Ages. It was solidified in the 1950s after a catastrophic dam collapse killed hundreds, including a man whose fiancée was pregnant and devastated. President Charles de Gaulle allowed the marriage to proceed posthumously to ensure the child was recognized as legitimate. To this day, you can petition the French president for a posthumous marriage if you can provide undeniable proof that the deceased intended to marry you and that you have a grave reason for the union. The law is real and is used dozens of times every year. It's a heartbreakingly poetic exception to the rule that until death do us part is the final word on the matter. It's the one law on our list that actually feels like it has a soul. Number 5. The ice cream pocket, Alabama's steed stealing. In Alabama, whatever you do, don't even think about putting an ice cream cone in your back pocket. This law wasn't written by a dry cleaner who hates dairy stains. It was a tactical strike against horse thieves. Back in the day, clever outlaws discovered that if they put a sweet treat in their pocket, a horse would follow them right out of the stable and down the street without the thief ever having to lay a hand on the horse's reins. By making the pocketed cone illegal, the state could arrest someone for intent to steal before the horse even left the property. It's a clever way to protect a stallion, but a terrible way to ruin a perfectly good pair of jeans. It stands as a reminder that in the eyes of the law, even a dessert can be a criminal tool if you use it with enough imagination.
Number 6. The Alien Impound. Châteauneuf-du-Pape's airspace. The famous French wine-growing village of Châteauneuf-du-Pape takes its grapes so seriously that in 1954, the mayor passed an official decree banning UFOs. The law explicitly states that the flying over, the landing, and the taking off of aircraft known as flying saucers or flying cigars is strictly prohibited within the village limits. Any extraterrestrial vehicle spotted would be immediately impounded and taken to the local pound. While it was clearly a brilliant PR stunt to get the town's name in the global newspapers during the 1950s UFO craze, the law remains on the books today. Apparently, the aliens have respected the ordinance, as no flying saucers have been towed away yet. It leaves us wondering, would you trust a vintage of wine that was grown under the watchful, prohibited eyes of Martian tourists? Number 7. The Smile Mandate. Milan's cheerful bureaucracy. In Milan, Italy, an old city regulation technically requires every citizen to wear a smile at all times while in public. The only legal exceptions to this rule are for people attending funerals or those visiting a hospital. It is a law designed to keep the city's vibe impeccably cheerful and welcoming for tourists, even though the Milanese are famously known for being quite fashionably grumpy. If the local police actually handed out tickets for frowning, the city's treasury would be overflowing within a single morning commute. It's one of those laws that exists purely on paper to remind everyone that while misery loves company, Italian bureaucracy loves a good laugh even more. It's the ultimate fake-it-till-you-make-it policy for an entire metropolitan population. Number 8. Underwater whistling. Vermont's defiance of physics. Vermont has a law that sounds like a direct challenge to a professional magician or an Olympic swimmer. It is technically illegal to whistle while underwater. It's hard to imagine how this law could ever be enforced without a specialized fleet of scuba diving police officers equipped with high-tech waterproof microphones. Since the laws of physics generally make whistling underwater impossible for the average human being anyway, this is a law that effectively enforces itself. It is a beautifully useless piece of legislation that serves as a permanent reminder that sometimes lawmakers just like to state the obvious for the sake of the record. If you can actually pull this off, you probably shouldn't be arrested. You should be given a Las Vegas residency. Number 9. The giant leash. San Francisco's elephant problem. In the city of San Francisco, walking your pet elephant on a leash down Market Street is technically a crime, unless you happen to be part of a licensed city-approved parade. This bizarre ordinance makes you wonder exactly how many 19th century residents were actually trying to domesticate 5-ton prehistoric animals in their small city flats. While the San Francisco Police Department isn't exactly patrolling the streets for leashed mammoths today, the law remains a quirky, heavy-duty reminder of the city's eccentric history. It poses a practical question. If you actually owned an elephant, would you even bother with a leash, or would you just let it go wherever it wanted and let the city deal with the consequences? Number 10. The permafrost prohibition. Norway's ban on dying. In the remote town of Longyearbyen, Norway, it is technically illegal to die. This isn't a play for immortality, it's a matter of public health. Because of the extreme Arctic cold, bodies buried in the local soil do not decompose. They're perfectly preserved in the permafrost. This created a massive problem decades ago when scientists realized that viruses like the 1918 flu could potentially stay active in the frozen remains. As a result, the local cemeteries stopped accepting new residents in the 1950s. If you are terminally ill or nearing the end of your life, you're flown to the Norwegian mainland to pass away and be buried there.
While the police obviously won't arrest a corpse, the law effectively bans the act of dying within the city limits. It's the ultimate human rule trying to override the ultimate law of nature. We've just survived a high-speed journey through a legislative attic full of pure, unadulterated nonsense. These 10 rules prove that throughout history, lawmakers have often had significantly more imagination than common sense. It's strangely comforting to know that we are all technically criminals under some ancient, ignored statute buried in a basement somewhere. If you had the power to delete one of these laws from history forever, or perhaps pass a new, even weirder one, what would it be? Let's spark a debate in the comments. Hit that subscribe button to stay curious and never miss another deep dive into the world's most fascinating facts. See you in the next one.